Hello, everyone. I am going to start the video presentation. Please give me your best regards. This is table of contents. My name is Shunya Tamura. I am a member of the Graduate School of Environment and Energy Engineering, Waseda University. I am doing research on promoting environmentally conscious behaviors using behavioral science. This presentation's theme is development of an environmental education behavioral science utilization tool for children. Environmental problems, such as the increase in greenhouse gases and climate change, have become more serious. One measure to solve these problems is school-based environmental education. The Ministry of the Environment in Japan stated that it is important to link environmental education at school with one of the elements for the zest of life. The zest of life is the ability to find problems, learn, think, make independent decisions, take action, and solve problems. The term zest of life, which refers to the qualities and abilities needed to live in a rapidly changing society, was used for the first time in education in Japan for the 21st century. However, one of the problems with current environmental education is that people's awareness and knowledge of environmental problems are not consistent with their actions. There are some disincentives, and those prevent people from taking the appropriate actions. Mori et al. Surveyed the discrepancy between behavioral practices and behavioral intentions of various environmentally conscious behaviors. As disincentives, there were bother to do, unknown, etc. So, my research objective is focusing on the factors that inhibit children's environmentally conscious behavior. An environmental education method is proposed to encourage them to independently act to solve environmental problems. This paper discusses a behavioral science nudge tool that could assist children in promoting behavioral change in others. Next, I would like to explain about behavioral science. Economics assumes that humans always think and act rationally without making mistakes. However, due to the flaws and biases in human predictions, social science research has shown that people are capable of making irrational choices and decisions. Psychology has proposed a dual-process human decision-making and behavior theory that involves emotional and intuitive and logical and analytical behaviors. Kahneman and Frederick classified these as System 1 and System 2, both of which play central roles in human decision-making and behavior, with System 1 related to automatic behavior and System 2 related to contemplative behavior. In human thought systems, the dual process theory has been proposed. This shows that there are two types of human thinking systems, intuitive System 1 and logical System 2. However, especially in system may first make irrational and wrong decisions due to flaws and biases in human prediction. Based on these human characteristics, it is important to conduct research on human behavior from the perspective of behavioral science. Horridge claimed that behavioral science was an academic discipline that, historically speaking, was established from the academic standpoint of psychology, sociology, information science, etc., to study human behavior through empirical approaches. Therefore, scientific research on human decision-making and behavior itself is necessary. In this context, the use of nudges as an approach using the findings of behavioral science has been progressing in various fields in recent years. Nudge is a concept proposed by Thaler and Sunstein, and it is defined as every element of without prohibiting choice or significantly changing economic incentives and choice architecture that changes people's behavior in predictable ways. The first part can be rephrased as respect the free will of the subject, and do not force actions or provide large incentives such as money. The second part can be rephrased as to design an environment that encourages choice by working with the human decision-making system. The behavioral science team in Japan classifies nudge frameworks into two types: process flow and checklists. Process flow, such as OECD's model, is summarizing a series of cycles in each step. There are various types of steps, but the structure is similar. The basic concept follows a behavior analysis, problem analysis, solutions consideration, intervention, and improvement process, and includes a return to a previous step if necessary. Checklists such as nudges proposed by Thaler and Sunstein is organizing concepts and conditions. There are various structures, such as those with overlaps and those with different concepts, and there are also nudges that have not been compiled into checklists. Therefore, it is necessary to use different methods for different applications and situations. Nudge is also being used in the environmental field. These are applications of nudge in environmental fields. Left side is promoting the reduction of household electricity consumption. Right side is the classroom practice developed by Tokyo Gas. Especially, Tokyo Gas's precedents resulted in a reduction in CO2 emissions and an increase in energy-saving behaviors. However, while there was a lot of encouragement from the instructor, such as the distribution of stickers, the learning was generally passive. While nudges have more often been used by researchers and public organizations, children could use behavioral science tools, such as nudges, to work on factors that inhibit their environmentally conscious behaviors and to change these behaviors and the behaviors of others. As I said in the beginning, it is important to link environmental education at school with one of the elements for the zest of life. Therefore, this paper developed a possible behavioral science tool that could make the process associated with the selection of appropriate measures easy for children to understand and use. The first step is developing a behaviorist's typology. The second step is selecting measures based on disincentives. This is behaviorist's type classification. The behaviorist's typology is classified based on the presence or absence of interest and the behavioral frequencies, with the flow then considering the 7 behavior types and the associated measures. The study of the measures is divided into 3 major categories: those who are interested and always take action, who would not be subject to measures based on the boomerang effect. The boomerang effect is a negative effect that results from encouraging the target audience. In previous studies, there have been cases where measures taken for people with a high awareness of saving electricity led to an increase in electricity consumption due to the boomerang effect, so it was decided not to take measures for people who always take action. Those who are interested but not always able to take action, and those who are not interested, who would not be subject to measures, because the formation of intentions is more important than the promotion of behavior. For this education program, it was decided that the promotion of environmentally conscious behavior should be focused on those who are interested, but are not always able to take action. By classifying people into types, it is possible to select specific measures for specific people, in this case, family members, which makes it easier for children to apply the behavioral science concepts because they would have a concrete image of the target people. Next, this is selection of measures based on disincentives. 5 main disincentive factors were selected based on Mori et al.'s Sapporo Citizens and Citizens Group survey on the disincentive factors for environmentally conscious behavior, and the causes of troublesome behaviors were classified into knowledge, physical, and psychological categories. Then, suitable measures were selected for the troublesome and forgetting behaviors, as these were considered applicable to behavioral science. Specifically, the following measures were selected for troublesome behaviors: a combination of information disclosure and framing for the knowledge factors, a change in default, or a simplification, subdivision, for the physical factors, and the addition of secondary objectives, or a combination of information disclosure and framing for the psychological factors. The measure selected for the forgetting behaviors emphasized visual information. It was decided that the determination of the measures for each disincentive would make it easier for children to select appropriate measures. Lastly, this is flow of the tool utilization. Children will utilize the tools in order from left to right. To identify the associated behavioral science tools, the first step is to determine the environmentally conscious behaviors that need to be implemented. And then, children will go through the typology of the actors in order. It was decided that a family member survey would clarify the behavioral types and the disincentives, which would then allow for the children to identify the appropriate measures to be taken. Finally, I would like to conclude my presentation and discuss future issues. This study examined how behavioral science concepts, such as nudges, could be employed to promote behavioral change of environmentally conscious behavior in children and others, mainly family members. To date, however, this research study has only examined the specific measures for each disincentive. Therefore, in the future, based on the behavioral type, specific examples of the measures for each disincentive will be developed. After the completion of the behavioral science application tool, classroom practice will be conducted with elementary and junior high school students. Thank you very much for your attention.